I guess I can speak up, or use this. But going off of what Vance and what Clark are saying as far as transportation goes, I really like the idea of regional connection with bus routes in between the various counties, Nicollet, Blue Earth, and LeSueur County. As I've sat and attended a couple of these meetings, I just recently finished an internship with the city of LeSueur, which is really interesting. But as far as transportation, I moved to the area in 2009 to pursue my bachelor and then my master's degrees at Minnesota State University, Mankato. And one of the biggest things that I've noticed because I came from the Twin Cities is the lack of connection and transportation infrastructure. And I see that as a means that how it is, it really cripples our economies in this region as far as being able to have people get adequate access to jobs in the Twin Cities and back, and then also having been a student at Minnesota State University, Mankato, I realized we have a population of about 20 to 22% international students that don't usually have a driver's license. So just to kind of be shanghaied in this region, I think it'd be great to have some more established transportation funding and then programs to help increase access. So I really like the idea of how we're starting to have these dialogue sessions with transportation in regards to interconnecting the counties with bus routes. But I'd really like to look forward to seeing a light rail connection between like a Mankato hub and the Twin Cities through Bloomington, because I think it would really help out from an economic perspective a lot of our residents being able to have access to jobs and different opportunities within the Twin Cities areas as well. And then also that would connect them with the Louvre now as well.
Yep. Was it Michael?
Yep.
Michael, there's another thing that we have been working on is an inner city, working from Mankato all the way up to Shakopee to get the bus route to go. So we're working on that at the same time. We actually have a meeting coming up on Monday with the 3 counties, and to try to get that more intact. So we want to make sure our counties, our three county transportation can connect with bus routes coming between Mankato and Shakopee, and also connect with the St. Peter bus route, the Mankato bus route, so when people get dropped off in Mankato, they're not just sitting there and they don't know where to go. They're going to be dropped off at a bus hub somewhere, so they can go somewhere either up to MSU or other places. But those things are in the process. I'd love to sit down and talk to you more about that. I'm taking your stuff away, aren't I?
Yeah, take your own. Have your own meeting. Couple quick comments. The body camera. I get people that are under the impression that the police do not want body cameras. They want them a lot. So I'm just, wanted to clear that up. Clark mentioned his frustration with the transportation, and he's been a leader on that within our party. But right behind him, as far as frustration, I think are a lot of county commissioners, because they've been waiting and hoping the state will step up. And then Mr. Hanson, Clark and I have a gentleman here in town, Mark Halverson, that has been attending the rail meetings on our behalf and keeping us up. And for those of you that don't know, Mankato was one of the tier 1 places for light rail, and they're looking at coming through Savage, though, rather than Bloomington, the old Dan Patch. But that's probably a minimum of 5 or 6 years away. So just wanted to throw that out.
This study on this the transit from Shakopee to Mankato is a big step in that, because that will establish the feasibility as well as give more strength to the local transit initiatives going on. And so this is coming together at a good time. So I'm excited about that. I think as we see this coming, we'll see more of it. And in fact, I attended a meeting of the Suburban Transit Association on Monday morning, particularly because we would be hooking into that system. And I wanted them to know that we're interested down here in Mankato in what they're doing to get people from, once we would travel from Mankato to Shakopee, where it's kind of a target area, and making sure that they have a viable system so we can then access the city appropriately. So.
I'll just add, since transportation conversation, when we're talking about transportation, this is another huge subject. We're talking about, shared transportation, rail, which is extremely important in terms of our state's economy, and underfunded. It is local roads and bridges, as well as inter-regional corridors, like Highway 14, and then, of course, the overall major systems like 169, all of them desperately needing investment. And it's not for lack of interest, it's for a lack of ability to come to an agreement around how do we fund those packages. So that's the struggle that we're having. And as Clark often says, but I will say, since you haven't said it, Clark, is there is an interplay for transportation between bonding, the transportation bill, and the tax bill. Those things play off each other. Each component of transportation has a place in each of those bills. So bonding in particular we want to watch for, because it is important for local roads and bridges, and why we need to really drive a sizable bonding bill. I hope that when you are talking to people about this up and coming election, that any discussion about putting a lid on the size of the bonding bill, which will make it lower than what we really could bond for at a time when the interest rates are so low and we would have such capacity to meet needs, especially local roads and bridges, that's a mistake. It's short-sighted, it's penny-wise, pound-foolish, and we need the public to be able to communicate that in your letters to the editor and in your communications at meetings that you attend, in which there might be legislators who are really reluctant to make commitments to long-term funding packages. And I wanted to tell Clark this, not just Clark, Jack, I want you to know too, but he's on transportation in the House. I got an interesting email from a person that suggested for our funding mechanism to have a 1 cent increase over the next 10 years. Just 1 cent a year over the next 10 years. And I said, I'll pass that along, because I thought that was an idea.
Gas tax?
Yeah, gas tax. Which is the workhorse. The gas tax is the workhorse for funding transportation. It's committed to roads and it's committed to highways. It's distributed through a formula. It is the workhorse. Other funding mechanisms that are being recommended will be in constant flux. They can't be counted on. But those dedicated funds from the Constitution, that's credible sources of revenue, workhorses.